to speak in Davos. Here I am in Kerr, and that's not too far from Davos. You can see the mountains up there. We're in Switzerland, and it's I think it's about -1 or -2 at the moment, and I am freezing, but it's kind of exhilarating at the same time. I'm carrying more layers of clothing than somebody who's trying to escape from a clothing shop and not get caught. So I did feel nice and warm, apart my face, which is probably going to crack, as opposed to crack up laughing. I'm heading to Davos to have a look at the setup and meet all the speakers. Very excited, but you can see snow. I've not seen proper snow for ages. Don't miss it? Not that much, but it's always exhilarating to find it every now and again. Right then, off to work. Talk to you soon. Here we are in Davos. I'm just outside the Mountain Plaza Hotel, where it's slightly off the main street, and the weather's much better today. I don't know if you can see the signage there. At the moment, the room that we're going to be in has a number of different events going on. The first day, and this is where it gets really interesting, the first day was all about diversity and women and empowerment. And my dear friend Carl Lillud was in there, which is very cool. And then today was Tech Talks, and my good friend Christian Farioli from Dubai was in there. And tomorrow I look after the African hub, and got lots of big speakers and big decision makers going there as well. I mean, it's just absolutely incredible, this venue. When you look around, it's just a little village in the mountains. It's very cold, but it's not as cold as it was yesterday. But this place converts, so every single square inch is chosen by somebody who pays a fortune for it. So what happens during this week is many of the people who live in Davos just leave. They rent out all their properties for other people to go and stay in. And so you've got all the biggest names in the world. I mean, just on the drive up here, so Meta, Palantir, you saw DP World, many of the companies, many of the biggest names that you see everywhere, representing countries as well. And each one of them has got a space and a priority. There's security everywhere. You don't get in here unless you have been vetted and checked. So yes, I have been. And on the way in, there's a long drive through the mountains. And as you go up, we're stopped by the police. They checked our passports to make sure they were okay. Good job I brought mine with me. I never take it anywhere, but somehow I brought it with me on today's trip. It is fascinating, it is bonkers, and it is a place that the world meets to decide how finances are going to run for the next 12 months and beyond. And most of all for me, I'm very excited because I'm going to be launching my book, The Thought Leaders Playbook. I'll be on an official launch of that book in front of Africa. This is slightly off the beaten track, deliberately so we can get a lot of people in. We've got dignitaries, we've got representatives, we've got presidents, we've got prime ministers, we've got big hitters coming in to share the vision of what's going to go on in Africa in the coming years. I can't wait to host it. I can't wait to tell you more about it. This is Prince Henry, working hard, carrying chairs to make sure the whole thing's amazing. How are you, sir?
Hi, guys.
And Moise is out there just sipping his coffee and making plans about investors.
How is that? He's sipping his coffee.
He is. He didn't order any for us.
Sipping his coffee.
I need my headphones.
Everybody have to look.
Welcome to Davos. You see here, it's beautiful. You can see what it looks like with all the snow. It feels very Christmassy without it even being Christmas. But this is a lull before the storm. As I speak right now, it's just before 8 o'clock. People haven't started arriving yet, but we're going to be serving breakfast and the action's going to start. Can everyone hear me okay if I talk like this? Because I believe that we're going to be streaming live across the world. And we're going to have about 50,000 people watching at least. So I just want to make sure that you can hear me properly. There's nothing worse than doing a mime act when people are watching at home, including my wife, because she has no idea where I've been for 4 days. So that's the only way I can prove I was here. I've done a few selfies and put them onto Instagram, but she knows I can Photoshop it, so it doesn't really matter. So there we go. You won't know it, right? But myself, Prince Henry, and Moise, we spent the entire evening till 5 o'clock in the morning putting all these things in place. Yeah, you don't believe it, but it's true. So there we go. So just in case I lose my job here, I've got a second job at IKEA. One of the things I will recommend, by the way, and I may mention it later on during our housekeeping, is this is also a massive opportunity to network. Now, what normally happens is people say, hi, how are you, and then go home with no contacts or whatever. Don't treat it like that. The way that we want to build this whole event and this whole culture and this whole community is that it feels like old friends and members of family coming back together, because ultimately everyone started off in Africa, whoever you are, whatever nationality you are, whatever you look like, and so it is effectively coming home, just with different mums and dads along the way, if that makes sense. So the way that I would do that, and not everybody wants to, but what I do is I get a selfie with the person I'm talking to, and then I go to WhatsApp, and I don't know if you've done this on WhatsApp before, but on WhatsApp you can go to, has everybody got, who hasn't got WhatsApp? Who's too rich that you would never connect with human beings anyway? A couple of people, okay. But what you do is you go on WhatsApp, and there's a QR code that you can find, which is, if you go to the settings bit, there's a tiny little blue QR code, you press that, and it brings up this weird thing that looks like that. So then you get the person in front of you to scan it, or you scan it from them, and then you get their details instantly, and your job is to send the selfie you took of both of you to them. Because what happens, especially if you network and you travel quite a lot like I do, you meet people later on, you've got no idea who they are. Or they send you a message on LinkedIn. Of course, everyone's picture on LinkedIn was like 25 years ago, when we left university and they had hope. So you've got to make sure that you have something current, so you've got that relationship. And also, especially at an event like this, there's so many amazing people in here, you might want to put it onto LinkedIn just to prove that you are connected to some really big hitters. And if you're a big hitter and you've got me on it, you'll delete it. That's fine as well. If you see the picture on my phone, I can't really show everybody from here, but what I did was I went onto ChatGPT and I got to scan a picture of me. And I said, oh yeah, you can put this on camera. I said, I want you to take a picture of me. I want you to describe what I look like and make me look younger and thinner. And so that's me as Blade. You can't really see it very well, but that's me as Blade. I've also got me scoring for England in the World Cup final and doing stuff. And I also did one where I said, right, put a little bit of weight on me, because I think I don't want to look like that, and put me in a Santa Claus outfit at Davos, speaking to the African hub. And I can't show you that. It looks like Santa Claus has been inflated. So that one's going straight in the bin. I showed my daughter, she laughed, took her to school. She's not my daughter anymore. So we're due to start in a few moments' time. Okay, I'm going to do a little bit of a housekeeping rules to make sure that we're all on the same page. With your phone, put it on silent. There's nothing worse than your phone ringing. And if you do have to answer it, please take it out of the room. Because what happens is when you start talking and you go, yeah, I'm here, I'm at the African hub, and it's amazing, and the compere is really funny, but I'm not going to talk to him later on because I don't know who he is, and all this kind of, people can hear exactly what you're doing. So either say, I'll talk to you later, or take it outside, because we've done a special deal with WEF that we can take your phone and sell it on eBay. Our hashtag that we're going to use, you've got two options. First one is hashtag African Transformation Group, or hashtag ATG. I know which one I'm using. So hashtag ATG is much easier. Feel free to take photos, to take videos, to share it with other people who didn't get an invite. Fire exits are, there's one there, there's one there, and I think there's one there, but I'm not sure if it runs into the kitchen, in which case that's probably where the fire's coming from. Don't go there. If you do hear alarms, and I've not heard the alarm, then obviously head towards the fire exit. I would just go and stand in snow, to be honest with you. You're probably going to be okay from there. But if you don't hear the fire alarm, or you're busy, or you're hard of hearing, look for the guy that looks like Bob Marley's older brother, screaming and running towards the fire exit, and follow me. Because one of the things that happens, and most people don't know this, is when you're a speaker, when you walk into a room, and if you've ever spoken, you'll have experienced this before. Speakers go on and they share some incredible content, and normally the room goes silent during the speech, and then afterwards the room stays silent. and the speaker doesn't know whether it went down well or not, and they walk, but thank you very much, like this. So what you need to do is make sure you clap for everybody, so make them know that they've done a great job. If afterwards they're terrible, don't clap so much, but make sure they know that. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to have a little bit of a practice of making applause, and I know you're all seniors, and you're all brilliant, and you're all really high-end. The reason I'm sharing this with you is so you can do this next time you're speaking. So you get this incredible feedback. So what I'm going to do is teach you all to make a little bit of noise and energy. And I think this room is very warm, so that's okay. It's not as bad as standing outside waiting for ages for all these white vans to go past. These black vans with all the windows covered that it was earlier. So I'm going to ask you just to, in fact, I'm going to do a practice of this. If I say, good morning, everybody, good morning. Oh, look at that. You warmed up already? That's amazing. My job is done. Check, please. No. Okay. So here's a little trick for you. If you do a lot of speaking, this is something I'll give you for free because I teach people how to speak. When you say good morning, everybody, good morning, your audience normally goes, and then you've got to say the same thing again. So here's what you do. You say, good morning, everybody, good morning. And they go, oh. And then you say, come on, we can do much better than that. And they're going, he's talking to me. I have to join in. Then you say the same thing again, and then you get a lot of noise back. So I'm going to practice. You can borrow this. It's for free. It's a gift, right? Because I'm not going to see you at Christmas, but this is yours. So I'm going to say, good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Oh, come on. You can do much better than that. And then watch the arms. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. See? And then you've got everybody at the right frame of mind, and then you thank everybody, and then you go into the normal presentation. Now, here's another tip for you. How many people here are going to be speaking here? We've got a couple of speakers. Oh, fantastic. How many people speak on a regular basis to audiences? Have you ever spoken to an audience and found the audience just stared at you afterwards? And you're thinking, I'll just get my coat. I'll just go like that. There's a trick. I'm going to teach it to you as a gift again. This trick to get any audience to clap for you is this. You know what? You've been an incredible audience. Give yourselves a massive round of applause. And it works. Everyone claps, even if they hate you. Let's get straight into this. I'd like to bring on a dear friend of mine, who, as you've probably noticed, is also my big brother. And he is the president of the African Transformation Group. Please put your hands together for Prince Henry Madafi.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's fantastic to have you here. Please help me welcome our Honorable Minister of Finance, Wale Edu of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. You're welcome, sir. Thank you.
So next up on the stage, I'd like to invite a very dear friend of mine, somebody I really admire on every level. Not least the fact that he dresses much better than me, and he walks much better than me, and when he talks, I'm going, I've got a squeaky voice, thank you so much. But today he's going to share with you some incredible stuff as he shares with you all about the impact of the diaspora funding and what that's going to do for everybody. It's a showcase presentation followed by a fireside chat. So to bring him on stage, it's my utter pleasure to invite on the co-founder of Abroad and also the co-founder of the ATF Group, Mr. Moise Kamini. Please give it up, Moise. You want to take this microphone?
I'll be talking about, we'll be mentioning being bold, and I think everyone who knows me, I'm quite bold. Okay. We would like to transform the continent, and the way we thought of doing it is through this. Abroad. There's a potential of 220 billion available for investment. And we are bold. We believe in the next 10 years, we can channel $1 trillion through our platform. How do we do that? Let me explain. So, having said that, I'm just overjoyed having this team. And please, a round of applause for this team. Thank you so much. Please, thank you.
Now, I want to share with you something very special. First of all, and it's one of the things that's so fundamental to what Africa Hub is doing and the growth of entrepreneurship and businesses across Africa. If you don't tell people who you are and what you're doing, they won't care. You have to be prepared to stand out there. And the phrase that I use is jump and grow wings on the way down. And I show people how to do that. I'm going to share with you, if you don't mind, for the next 15 minutes, a couple of things and give you a free gift. Does anybody want a free gift? Yeah, look at that. A couple of people saying, I've got so many free gifts, I don't need it. I've got a separate truck to bring all the things back home. Well, this one's a digital one that you can enjoy anyway. So here's a quick one. Right. What does society value most? Question for anybody in the audience. What does society value most? Impact? Anything? We've got impact so far. I'll put you out of your misery. Information is good as well. Anybody else want to say something? It's this, status. You could read it. I cheated and put it forward. Status. Now this is really bizarre. Status is the number one thing that's valued across all nationalities, across all races, across all countries, religions. For over thousands of years, your status is the one thing that elevates you higher than anybody else, and they will invest with you as a direct result of doing it. I'm going to break down why it's so important that you get this correct. Because ultimately your status gives trust and credibility. And trust and credibility is what people will buy from you. Now I realize that in this room, everybody in this room is a big hitter. You're either incredibly wealthy or incredibly positioned or a combination of both. Incredibly famous. But ultimately, why do you get to have so much success? Trust and credibility. People Google you. People continue to refer you to others. And when you arrive, they know exactly who you are. But not everybody can do that. And that's what I want to share with you about how you become more effective with that. Here's the thing that was put out by Forbes. Forbes has said that personal branding is a top 7 in-demand skill for 2024. Once upon a time, it was okay to be hidden and keep yourself to yourself and just wait for things to come. Things don't come anymore like that. You've got almost 8 billion people on the planet competing for the same kind of stuff that you are doing. So where does that leave you? What do you have to do? Well, you have to consider this. What is your brand ultimately? Your brand is what people say about you when you leave the room. And if they can't find you and they don't know who you are, then they will just go on to the next shiny person who was getting on their radar to make an impact. So I'm going to share with you a couple of ways of making that even more important for you. So by the end of today, you'll have something that you can use. Is that okay? Is that okay? Yeah. Fantastic. Okay, I've created a book called The Thought Leader's Playbook. And here in Davos, this is the official launch of my new book. Thank you. And that's it. Good night. No. So here's what happened. I was speaking on stages all around the world and teaching CEOs, decision makers, politicians, VIPs, celebrities how to speak. Then the pandemic hit. And for 2 years, nobody was speaking on stages, least of all me. And I had to realize, how do I create an impact? And I realized that it's not just about speaking, it's about being the best in your industry and letting people know that you are the best in your industry. And that's how I learned to create this as the Industry Icon program. So why is it important to be a thought leader? Well, I did promise to give you a free gift, and this is a book when it comes out. I'm going to give you the book now. So all you got to do is get your QR code, get your phone out, just scan this, register, and you'll be able to download a copy. So you'll be instantly working on it or going your way through it without even before the end of my presentation today. So this is my free gift. I did promise to have it for you, and this is it. It was much easier than paying excess baggage and bringing 300 books into the country. So that's available for you all just to get a copy. And from there, feel free to share it. It has a breakdown of everything you need to be able to position yourself as a thought leader. Because here's the thing, many people are invisible. If you're not visible, you don't create that trust and credibility. Why does that matter? Well, this is what matters. First of all, it's important to position yourself if you're a CEO or a founder. If you're a senior executive, a director, or a VP, if you're an entrepreneur in a startup, consultants, freelancers, industry analysts, academic leaders, authors and speakers, game changers, and also an area that's fascinating, anybody who's over 50 who's finding that in their job, in their industry, the mood is changing to employ people younger than you. Now's the time to shift and become that rock star brand as a thought leader. And students, Now, all this applies to most of the people in the room who may or may not decide to position themselves as a thought leader, but certainly it allows you to grow your brand if you're looking at what happens to organizations, to individuals, to entrepreneurs, to startups, and to smart people in Africa. So let's put that into some kind of breakdown. How do you use these skills and these abilities to really succeed? Let me share with you this. This is John. It's not really John. I found his picture on Google Images, but let's just call him John. So it looks more like Casey Jones. Does anybody remember Casey? No, just me. Okay. So this is a legend of the old man and the hammer. Now, this is a story you may have heard before. It's kind of like an old wives' tale, but it's got same impact anyway. So this factory was creating stuff, and the factory stopped working. And they tried to fix the machinery, and it wasn't doing well. And in the end, they said, let's call John. So John comes in with part walrus, part engineer, as you can clearly see with moustache. Walks in, has a look around, tries to listen, starts a button, doesn't start properly, opens up his toolkit, goes over to a panel, unscrews the panel, takes it off, takes a tiny little hammer, taps 3 times, goes back, presses a big red button, and the machine starts again. And suddenly the whole factory starts working. And so John puts his hammer back in his case, walks over to the big boss, hands him a bit of paper, waves, and walks out. Now here's the challenge. The bit of paper was a bill, an invoice for $100,000. So the boss looks at it and he says, oh, hold on. $100,000, you're only here for like 3 minutes. How does that work out? And this is why it's so important to position yourself as a thought leader. The invoice had this. Tapping with my hammer cost $2. Knowing where to tap was worth $99,998. Everybody in this room, regardless, the people you work with, the people you know, have that knowledge of how to tap. But the problem is, you probably don't know who to ask for, or how to connect yourself, or how to position yourself. That's where thought leaders come in. Because ultimately, what you have to do is a formula for being paid. Now, everybody in this room is successful. Everybody in this room is making great money, and the more power to you. The more you work with the Africa Hub and the team from ATG, the bigger it's going to become. But there's a formula for being paid, and it's 2 things. This is the first thing, the effect of a job that you do. And the second thing is, how cheaply can they replace you with somebody else? As a thought leader, they can't replace you because there's nobody else who does exactly what you do, narrowing down your focus, positioning yourself as the best in what you do. So why am I telling you all this? Well, very simply, and this is what the book was created to do. Your expertise, everybody's expertise in this room, is one of the most valuable assets that you have, and most people let it die with them. When you're looking at what's happening in Africa, you've got a whole empire, potentially, I won't go there and say that word again, but you've got a whole potential massive countries where your knowledge will help a group of people to fast track where they need to be. You owe it to them. Because knowledge is power, and people will pay for that. They'll pay for that ability to be positioned to fast track who they are. My clients who work with me all make 6 to 7 figures on top of their normal wages by tweaking and positioning themselves differently, to write a book, to do a podcast, to speak on stages, to find new things related to what they do, running a course or mentoring people. Prove you can help them, find out what their headache is, and fix their headache. That's what thought leaders do. So the industry icon is the thing that I produce to help people to be able to position themselves as the best in their industry. So how does that work for you? Well, we've mentioned it a number of different times today. It's about creating your legacy. Now, here's the thing that most people get wrong about legacy. Legacy is about what people think about you when you die. Why would you wait that long? Do it now. Have your legacy while you're alive and enjoying and eating, croissants and enjoying your coffee and connected to people that love you. But you can see how it grows as you do it now. Position yourself as a thought leader. For me personally, once I'm gone, I'm gone. I don't care. I'd like to know now. I'm sure the same is true for you as well. So legacy, this is what I show people to do. You might want to take a photo of this if you're just considering the stuff we're talking about. I won't leave it up for long, but if you connect with me directly, I'll happily share this with you. This is a template on the things that are opportunities for thought leaders who position themselves as being the best that they can be. I'm not saying you should do all these things. You find a buffet of all these things and choose the ones that fit you. I'll write a book. I'll do a book tour. I'll do a podcast about the book. I'll run it as a course. I'll bring people in and show them. I'll work with organizations that need my services and I'll show them how to do all those things. It's a business. I'll move to one side because you're going to, so I stand here. You go, Dave, move out the way. We want that, not you. I'll just stand here. Has everybody got a copy of this now? I'm happy for you to go home and start working on it yourself. Combine it with the book that you've just downloaded and you'll find things happen very, very quickly indeed. So here's what leaders are saying about my book, The Thought Leaders Playbook. Let's have a little look at this. Anyone heard of this guy? Dave Ulrich is seen as the godfather of HR. There's a world-ranked #1 HR expert. This is what he was saying about it. I won't read it out because I know that if it just looks like bragging rights, and also if I get it wrong, you'll say, he knows how to make thought leaders, but he can't read properly, so I'll just leave it as it is. Here's another gentleman here, Joel Cohn, one of the best-selling speakers, and in the internet space and in the fintech space, seen as one of the biggest hitters as well. Another gentleman here, Raymond Aron, best-selling author, and one of the best speakers I've ever seen in my entire life. That's what he had to say as well. Next up, Dr. Corey Block, and I'm based in Dubai. That's the UAE's #1 business coach, works with Marshall Goldsmith and so on. So I could go on and show you these. They get boring after a while. You're just going, yeah, Dave, yeah, Dave. It doesn't matter. Here's the one question that I'll share with you. The one thing that you should really ask is not about what you do. It's what can you do for other people. Once you've worked that, then that's what you do. So the question to always ask is, what's in it for them? Not what's in it for you, what's in it for them? If you satisfy that, it works. If you're married, that's a question you ask. What can I do to make my partner happy? And if you can satisfy that and make them happy, they'll never complain about anything ever again. Unless you're married to mine, in which case then maybe one or two things. Can we erase that from the video as well? Too late. Streaming across 50,000 people going, I'm going to tell you, missus. Okay, so some incredible hitters there. So if you want to be a business rock star, this is how you do it. I'll show you this once again if anybody hasn't taken a copy of it. It's a Thought Leaders Playbook. It's there for you to share amongst your community. If you want to know how to do this with more impact, or even better, if you want to look at what you do and say, Dave, I'm an expert at what I do, but I haven't shown enough people, I will show you exactly how that's done. Success leaves clues. The world is hungry. This place here is desperate and hungry for expert leaders to show them how to fast track and go from what's inevitable for Africa to be seen and respected around the world in the next 25 to 30 years. We can do this in 10 to 15 just by coming together and bringing everybody home. Wherever you're from, wherever you do, there's huge opportunities. And I want to see that you are at the forefront of that, positioning yourself as a thought leader and creating it. What do? I show people how to jump and grow wings on the way down. And if there's one thing I could leave you with, it would be just that. My name is Dave Crane. It's been a pleasure spending time with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dave. Always so energetic and powerful. Thank you for bringing your ideas, your passion, and your belief in a brighter African future. Together, we will turn today's possibilities into tomorrow's realities. Let us embark on this journey with promise of making history, not just for Africa, but for the world. Thank you. And let's forge ahead with courage, collaboration, and conviction. Thank you, and thank you once again.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't charged your glass, there's a couple here and a couple doing the rounds. I'd like to have a final toast. In fact, if there's champagne there, anyone's not got a glass or you're driving. If you are driving, I sympathize. That was my sympathy. Everybody who's participated today, whether you're sitting in the audience or speaking on stage or supporting or investing in some of the many projects we've got here. Everybody who's going to be connecting with everybody in the room. when they look at what's happening on social media, they look at the projects that are moving forward, and they look at opportunity and how they can contribute, but most of all, to the continent that everybody in this room has made the commitment to raise to the top of the food chain. I ask you to raise your glasses, and this toast is to you and to Africa. To Africa.
To Africa.
And that's it. I'm done. Finished with Davos, heading back to glorious Dubai. And the airport's busy, crazy busy. Full of decision makers, full of millionaires, billionaires, politicians. Everybody has been there. I bumped into a couple of my old friends, and always happy to make more too. But meanwhile, the most important thing for me is just to get back to my girls. Find a family, walk with dogs, have a cup of tea, and chill. Thanks for coming with me on my adventure. I look forward to taking you on another one. Meanwhile, take your time, come to Zurich, enjoy Switzerland. It is beautiful.